I think this is really interesting because Michael Saylor's at an interesting point in his Bitcoin experience, right? He's now going through what anyone who's been in this space for, like I've been in it for 11 years, right? Started buying it at $1. I've been through 3 halvings. I've been through 4, maybe 5, 80% corrections. And so Michael is having his first, big, cream pie in the face of volatility everyone experiences with Bitcoin at some point.
Bitcoin bull Michael Saylor recently compiled a list of factors that would improve and strengthen Bitcoin. In an interview with Bloomberg, he listed difficulties preventing Bitcoin's rapid expansion as unregulated crypto exchanges, a mostly unregulated stablecoin market, and the absence of a no-wash trading regulation. Michael Saylor's Bitcoin list, according to Max Keiser, was a novice who was facing his first cream pie of volatility. While he does agree with some of Saylor's comments, Keiser points out that the majority of Saylor's proposals will harm the decentralized nature of the Bitcoin ecosystem and expose it to unsuitable regulation. Keiser also discusses the Bitcoin revolution, pointing out that, in contrast to Americans, people in less developed nations are more receptive to and appreciative of Bitcoin's unique traits and are therefore more likely to lead the revolution. Let's listen to Max Keiser as he gives us his take on the current state of the Bitcoin market. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
Now, the wash sale trading rule, I would give that, I'm fairly ambivalent about that. It's like, yeah, that would be kind of nice, but he's trying to avoid this hyper trading that's going on, people trading without any cost whatsoever into kind of the fastest moving, I'll say Bitcoin, I don't know, altcoin. And there's a tremendous amount of social media where you see hyping of a meme coin. And so there's no penalty for that mass of meme coiners out there to just jump into a new one. There's no tax penalty, et cetera. So bringing in a wash sale rule would theoretically put a buffer between that kind of murmurations, as I call it. So I guess it's okay, but you're opening the door to regulation. So that's where I would say put a caution light there. Michael is somewhat of a newbie. It wasn't too long ago when over there at BitMEX, you could get 100x leverage. So 20x leverage is moving toward a more sane environment than 100x. But obviously, again, that kind of leverage is not consistent with the kind of the guardrails that should be in place for the average retail investor. And so having access to that, it's almost guaranteed you're going to get wrecked. It really turns platforms like Coinbase and others, that they become more like casinos. I've called them casinos before, unlicensed casinos. And so it has that element to it where you're really, you're putting up a penny and you're gambling on a 20x or a 30x. And as you know, that type of trading is almost guaranteed a loser. So he's right in terms of that kind of existence as a casino operations going on. He's correct. Again, it opens the door toward regulators. So that would be the downside. Everything that's not Bitcoin, as I've said on your show before, would come under the heading of either relatively or absolutely centralized versus Bitcoin, which is uniquely decentralized. Additionally, a case can be made applying the Howey test that everything that's not Bitcoin would be an unregistered security, right? So, and it also brings about the question about Senator Lummis in her bill that she's trying to get through Congress, talking about applying some regulations to quote unquote crypto. And she does things like she equates Ethereum and Bitcoin. She calls them both commodities, which I think is false. You can make a case that Bitcoin is a commodity like gold, but clearly Ethereum is an unregistered security without any doubt whatsoever. So Gary Gensler over at the SEC had kind of pushed back against all this and said, hey, lady, stay in your lane. You don't know what you're talking about, which I think is the correct response. When the cross-collateralization issue that he's getting at is really really the crisis du jour, I would say, because of what we saw with Terra, Luna, and all these other DeFi coins, that they're manufacturing that yield, pomp from kind of cross-collateralizing and putting money to work into other DeFi coins, and these other DeFi coins are generating returns by creating coins out of thin air. So, I mean, by definition, that's a Ponzi scheme. So a lot of that DeFi return is just cross-collateralizing into new situations that are creating coins out of thin air and rewarding early, coin rewards, et cetera. Again, unregistered securities. That's definitely an issue. And here, I think that this is definitely a regulatory issue where this definitely would require regulatory kind of enforcement. And you see these things, for example, with Luna, these guys are definitely getting into big trouble. I believe they're completely prevented from leaving South Korea. They're being held by the police. So, this is definitely an issue. So I think with that, he understands that this is what's keeping the lid on Bitcoin at the moment. Is you've got hundreds of billions of dollars. You've got people like Sam Bankman-Fried over at FTX, who's become a kingmaker by creating these enormous kind of cross-collateralized market-making, unregulated situations where price discovery can't take place. This is something that people talked about a couple of years ago. They said, will Bitcoin experience the same problems gold has? Because there's no good price discovery in gold because of all the derivatives. And so Wall Street can really decide what the price of gold should be, not the market. And what Saylor's pointing out is we're seeing this now in Bitcoin. You've got derivatives or DeFi that are creating price discovery for Bitcoin, and it's blocking it from a more natural price discovery from taking place. So I think he's got an excellent point there, and this is definitely under the wheelhouse of the SEC. They're definitely should be enforcing in this case, and they're being lax, and it's unclear why the SEC is being lax. You've got these what he called wildcat banks, these big platforms, and they're interrupting price discovery, and they're doing so in a way that's manipulative and fraudulent. And it's the perfect opportunity for the SEC to step in and enforce the rules. Well, the adoption is definitely tied to understanding Bitcoin. And we know that the more you learn about Bitcoin, the more of a maximalist you become. Nobody who learns about Bitcoin fails to become a maximalist. Only people who really don't take the time to learn about it are left in the camp of a no-coiner or a skeptic. But on this point, I think what he's missing is the global nature of Bitcoin. So in the US, which has the US dollar and it has a much different culture and the financial markets are in a much different place, this is a bigger problem to get through to people who are bombarded with so many things happening in the financial space and the way that that's changing. I look at how, for example, gambling has become legalized with platforms now that we didn't really have even a few years ago. But if you look around the world, in places like El Salvador, the global South, places like Africa, the need for Bitcoin is so great that the learning curve is very fast. They just get it. There's a need for it. And that's where you're going to see the growth pump. Bitcoin is really very much going to be the global South making a move on the global North. You're going to see the changing of the guard. The central banks, the Federal Reserve Bank and the Bank of England, European Central Bank are going to be usurped. They're going to be overtaken by this Bitcoin revolution. And it's going to come from these other countries. It's not going to be led by the United States.
It makes sense that Max Keiser, being a Bitcoin maximalist, would have differing views on these topics. Saylor oversees a publicly traded firm and is subject to and knowledgeable about laws that are not yet of utmost significance in the crypto sector of the market. Keiser, on the other hand, has been working in the crypto sector for a longer period of time and is not constrained by these regulations, which explains why, in contrast to Saylor, he is more against regulation. What do you think about Max Keiser's view on the current state of the Bitcoin market? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.